Hello and welcome once again to another edition of Culture Cove right here on Hued Network. As always, my name has not changed. I am Amadine Ogbewi. We are here to preserve culture, to promote it, to ensure its propagation, and also to talk about the arts. It's a special episode today because we have one of our own who has gone beyond to represent us and done so well. But before I introduce her, let's let the cat out of the bag. For those with me here, as usual, my co-host. To my close left, I still have Joan Eze. Joan, how are you doing today?
I'm super excited. I'm
Nice.
so proud right now, Amadine. I'm so happy.
But just a moment, don't reveal it yet.
Yes.
I like your. I think we're.
And we at least you got
Is
the
that
mail.
green? You know, there's so many colors. They say
my
cockroach
goodness.
brown.
It's mink.
Is that green or teal? What
I
is
don't
it?
even know what to
I
call
would have
it.
said you're doing green and I'm white, green, white. If we have one more green, we go Nigeria. All right,
Anyway.
so our next co-host, I have Omokafe. Dennis, how you doing, Omokafe?
I'm fine, thank you. This is a little bit, something to
It's
reveal,
almost a
something.
spoiler.
But you will get it. You will
Thank
get
you.
it.
Thank
It's
God
so
I
nice.
have the honor to introduce one of our very own. She was first the exquisite queen in Nigeria. And then she became Miss Aura Nigeria. And then she traveled all the way to Antalya, Turkey, where she represented us on a grand stage. And she came back with another crown as Miss Aura International Peace Ambassador 2025. You know who I'm talking about. Help me welcome Mercy, Queen Mercy Babajide.
Hello.
Hello, Mercy. How are
Your
you doing today?
Highness, your Royal Majesty.
Thanks for coming
we
back.
welcome you.
Thanks for coming
we
back.
heard the people from Turkey call. They said, we want her to stay. Please, just let her stay. Can you guys find another Queen Mercy? And we said,
Nah.
no, there's only one. So how you doing?
Well,
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm fine, thank you.
So anyway, that's what's dominating most of our conversation today. We want to talk about the event that happened in May in Turkey. It did host a whole lot of cultural displays, particularly when the participants had to come in their national attire. And again, Nigeria made strong waves there. When I say Nigeria, I'm talking about Queen Mercy, obviously. And then afterwards, we'll talk about other things as well. And then we'll round off the show. So, Mercy, normally we would, give a background of what's happening, but you were there live and direct. You weren't just there. For those who might not know, Queen Mercy also has a background as a journalist, but she wasn't covering, she was being covered.
Yeah.
So please tell us, just give us an overview of your journey all the way from Nigeria to Turkey.
Hello guys, it's nice to be in the midst of beautiful faces here. I'm sort of shy.
Don't be.
Please. It's different when you're the one questioning and then now you're being questioned. So it's a total ball game. But then about my journey, I would say it wasn't entirely smooth. I mean, from the nationals, it was great. So let me say I found favor in the eyes of God and in the eyes of everybody that was there, because I had lots of drama happening behind the scene about, who are we going to crown? Everybody, and trust me, every lady there was exceptional. It was a tough one from the nationals. But then it came through, God came through. And then I was crowned Miss Aura Nigeria, and that was when the old drama started. And you would say, it's easy for you to represent Nigeria on an international stage when you have support from your own country. But then I applied for visa and my visa was denied exactly a week to when I was supposed to travel.
Wow.
And of course, you know how it is done in Nigeria that you're supposed to apply and then your visa is supposed to take 3 weeks to come out and all of that whole process and everything. And in my head, the funny part was I was having a photo shoot session and then the normal me as a journalist, I would just check my mail. And then I just checked my mail and I saw your visa has been denied for no reason. And I remember telling my sister, I just told her, please, can we pack up and go home? That was the end of the photo shoot, of course. And then I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but then the Honorable Minister of Culture, she played a major role. I mean, she is a mother figure, not just a mother figure. She was not in the country when all of this was going on. All she saw was tags and tags and tags. Everybody was not ready to give up. I'm like, oh, this girl, I had just 1 month to prepare. 1 month? No, I had just 3 weeks to prepare for the international pageant. After I got crowned, the first week after crowning was for media rounds in Lagos. And then I got back to Abuja. I had 3 weeks to prepare. And in that 3 weeks, I already had 1 week out that my visa was rejected. And then that means I had just 1 week to prepare, Visa was denied on Friday. Monday, we started tagging all of the necessary agencies, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Arts and Culture, everybody. Minister of Arts and Culture, I would give it to them 100% because they were saying, oh, why didn't you just walk into our organization and just tell us you're good? I'm like, do you guys know the impression everybody has about parastatals in Nigeria that it's not something you can just walk in? But I just walked in, I saw one of our protocols, they said, oh, she's not around. What would you like us to do? I said, oh, I need a letter. They said, okay, they will put a call through to her. And trust me, from not having visa on Tuesday, I was in our office. Wednesday, it was on Thursday, I was asked to come submit my passport. And they said, oh, when are you traveling? I said, I was traveling on Friday. And they said, okay. The embassy called, oh, please come with your passport and all of that. I submitted my passport. Then on Friday, I got there. Of course, all of this is I'm just trying to wrap up everything. There was prayers going on in background. A lot of things are going on. True. At the back. So on Friday, I was called and then I got there. I always say something that when everything happens to everybody on a normal day, like it's just normal. My own is always different. Ask me why.
Why? Why? I asked first.
So I got there on Friday and in my head, I'm like, oh, the minister already wrote a letter. I'm supposed to just... Yeah, it was smooth.
Yeah.
I got there and then I just heard someone from inside because there's a barricade.
Okay.
And then someone just said, is she here? I'm like, nah, wow. It go reach my turn. Which one is she? Because I've seen other people come inside. I mean, diplomats, they just come in, get their passports and they just come out. They said, oh, the ambassador wants to see you. I'm like, what did I do? So he said, oh, this, he just wants to be able to put a face to it. And then I got upstairs, I saw him and the ambassador stood up. He literally walked from his seat down to where I was. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My apologies, your visa was denied. You're not a flight risk. I'm sorry we had to put you through all of that. We're sorry even had to get to a point where the minister had to write letter. It should be easy for you, blah, blah, blah. Please do well to visit us when you come back. And I'm like, sir? But then that's the grace of God.
Yeah.
And that's one. And then I told him and I'm like, okay, I'm going to come back to this office and I'm going to come back with my crown, not the Nigerian crown, the international crown and the sash. And I was like, you seem so confident. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to go through all of this stress for nothing. Of course, with God's backing. So I got my visa and then I traveled on Sunday. I got there on Monday morning. Okay, they're like 2 hours ahead of Nigeria. And I would say up from that point till the very end, I wasn't expecting a crown. The competition was tough. I mean, I saw...
But you had already spoken it into existence.
Yeah.
So it was working for you.
I like that. There's a connection
Because at some point you pray, you'll be like, oh, Mo, I'm sorry, allow me to use our Nigerian language.
No, you're fine.
I am tired. Let God just do whatever he wants to do.
Yes.
In my mind, I'm like, I feel like stepping my foot in Antalya, Turkey was already a milestone achieved.
Yes.
Because I didn't expect that I would go that far to start with. So I already just said, I'm just going to put in my best, do whatever they ask us to do, and then just have fun.
Yeah.
And I remember everybody kept on saying, Queen, make sure you have fun, have fun, have fun. I'm like, you guys, it's easier to say when you're out there. You're not seeing these tough competitions. I mean, Asian countries, pageant is their sport. So they support their own with everything. When I mean everything. And the kind of support I got from Nigerians was shocking. I wasn't expecting that kind of support. It got to a point I couldn't pray. I didn't see myself getting far. And then I'll tell my friend, oh, I'm going to come in the next day after the pageant. And you're like, you're not talking like you're going to win this crown. Tell us that you're going to stay 3 more days after, 4 more days after, because the queen is supposed to stay days after. And it made me realize that sometimes you don't even believe in yourself, but people are rooting for you out there. And you know that slogan, Naija no dey carry last.
Indeed.
Indeed.
It was, we saw how things were going. And it was like, is Nigeria about to come without something after how amazing our representative has been, how beautiful, even your answers to questions, we'll get to that shortly. So it was like, the way I say is that when it was looking like we were going to come without something, to let people know now, Queen Mercy is actually the first Miss Aura International Peace Ambassador. So instead of you to come without anything, something had to come up.
History maker.
So which takes me straight now to what we want to talk about Miss Aura, because we like to spotlight the cultural aspects of things. So let's go straight into it. We'll start with you. I mean, you're here already. Your Mama Ibeji, I saw them pronouncing it as Mama Ibeji.
Forgive their pronunciation.
So, what can you tell us about that? What inspired this look? You had 2, is it golden or bronze babies on your back, and it was, you're looking majestic and very. It's a statement. Your outfit actually made top 10 of the national outfits. Yeah. What inspired this? Who is responsible for this?
Let's give it up for my team first. I had the best team, and now watching the video again, I'm close to tearing up. I actually wanted something based on Mary Slessor because I was hoping to make impact and talking about women that contributed to changing narratives in Nigeria. And I remember I told them I wanted Mary Slessor, but then they had to switch. Then you see the twins at the back. They, of course, the representative of Ibeji in Nigeria. Then the cowries, the Oshun goddess in front. You can see the cowries on the neck, the calabash. So I think in Oshun, the river worshippers, they have to be dressed in a certain way. So that's why the white is there, the gold, of course. So I wanted to actually bring to life something that would represent Mary Slessor, but then they said, let's switch it. Instead of Mary Slessor, let's give them something different, something outstanding. And I couldn't even believe when this was brought to life that it would be this nice, because the drawing and everything, I'm like, okay, this looks really nice. But then when I saw it in real life, I'm like, I was blown away.
There was a little dance you did. Who inspired that dance? It was very...
They've called me the performer because you can't be wearing such beautiful attire and not perform with me. And I feel like there was just some sort of energy that just came with wearing the outfit. In my head, I'm like, I look too beautiful for me to just,
Looks like there was a spirit in this dress.
I wouldn't like it. Mama Ibeji. And yes, I love twins. I'm hoping that someday.
And I
triplets.
I pray for you. You receive it. Well, I really like this outfit.
Yes.
I must really commend your team coming from the angle of fashion and the tweaking. It's everything. In fact, more of Mary Slessor, more of the Nigerian culture, more of the whole spiritual thing. It's so beautiful, and in fact, if I was a judge, I would have given you,
of course,
international. It would have been the whole.
Well, so that I not look like I came there to take all the crowns. Because there was a crown that came with national costume. So in my head, I'm like, there are 3 crowns I was gunning for. Intelligence, national costume, and the main crown, of course. But then, of course, they wouldn't give me 3 crowns and say, and only you waka come.
And I think for me, is the cultural representation. We were talking the other day of, if I can pronounce it correctly, Ibora or Ibora. Community in Nigeria here, in a Yoruba community actually, where they have a prevalence of
number of twins.
Twins in Oyo State.
Twins are everywhere. And when I saw this, I was like, well, this is... And then, the whole talk about how it represents, purity, culture, strength, and all of that. It was an amazing one, really. And I think it made a statement. For me, the way I felt is, when some of our artists cross our borders. For instance, I remember watching the second Black Panther movie, and when Burna Boy's song comes in, and I felt a sense of nationality.
Belonging.
So when I saw you, on the stage, with the dance, I felt, wow. That's not just a Nigerian, that's my friend, that's my, I know one like this. So I think that's one thing that happens when we get to go there and represent a culture. Is really amazing. So let's maybe take a look at our next outfit. We want to just take a look at the national, because this will represent most people's different cultures. So move now to the second one we have. So anyway, I think that's coming up. That would be Miss Thailand, if I'm not mistaken.
No, this is
Okay,
Philippines.
this is Philippines.
Oh, Miss Philippines.
All right. Well, I think I'll take it from here. This actually represents strength and of the Filipina.
Yeah.
And the whole womanhood and everything that it represents. So this is actually the international. This is Christian Pauline.
Yeah.
Yes. And she's actually the queen of the international oral queen. And this outfit for me is really nice because it's like a collection of everything that concerns Philippines. The strength of a woman, the whole embroidering, the beadings, even the staff she's holding, everything, the crown, everything still depicts the strength of a woman, the resilience of the Philippines, and everything that revolves around them. So that's exactly.
I believe she went on to get the
she
royal
got the
crown.
crown, yeah.
I'd like to know how were you able to relate with other people there? I trust there were people who couldn't even relate in your
English,
language.
yeah. I feel the first week was I'll try to paint a picture. The first week when you enter the NYC camp.
Yes.
Everybody's uptight and everybody's just trying to stay safe. That was how it was. By the next week, everybody was already
loosened up.
Everybody had loosened up.
Getting used to each other.
I remember I was withdrawn because, of course, I was worried about the racism and everything. And then I'm like, okay, let me look at who to speak with and who not to speak with because I'm in another man's country. Let me chill a bit. But then, God bless my roommates.
Okay.
She's Namibian.
Okay.
And she's like the coolest, let me just say the bestest. Trust me, the crown is there. But I feel like that's the bestest gift I got from that pageant.
Yeah.
She was just, it got to a point I had to tell my organization, I'm like, trust me, this girl is a sweet person. And everybody had to go follow her on Instagram and they're like, we're looking for Miss Namibia, our roommate. She was sweet, nice. And then she is someone that is not afraid to speak. She's not someone that's afraid to learn. She's someone that she's not, I'm trying to look for the word, but she was just that aura of fresh air. And, when you just meet some people and then you just be like, nah, this is it.
The aura was positive.
Was there. Yeah, it was just positive. That's the word. So I would say, about language, we had people, I remember Miss Thailand.
Yeah.
But then I think I had this discussion before I came here, how she was even willing to still speak with people. And she was worried about her not being able to speak English. When we talk, we have to describe. You see us describing, we're talking about cheese. And someone says, oh, cheese. Then someone describes what cheese looks like for her. So then she says it in a language. And they were like, yes, that's it. And then at some point, I started learning, even though I can't remember any now, I started learning how to say good morning, good evening in Turkish. And then, they were sweet. I remember I had issues with communicating with the hairstylist on how to straighten my hair. And then I remember Miss Kosovo, Uzbekistan, they walked up to him and they just started blowing the language. Oh, this is what she wants. That is what she wants. And at first I was pissed because I'm like, straighten. Straighten. Wow. At some point, I'm like, okay, if I come back, are you sure I'm still going to come back to my journalism career? Because at some point you have to do cut and join English. Like, me, go.
Oh my goodness.
But then it was a breath of fresh air when you meet people that are willing
So
irrespective of, you know what you've heard outside Nigeria, that people are racist and all of that, but they were willing. The girls were just, you could check videos on my Instagram page. We made lots from national costume, even backstage. It was fun. I don't want to start reliving and start crying. I miss
supporting women. We love to see it, actually.
Now, talking about women supporting women, I would like to ask, as a peace ambassador that you actually are now, what are those initiatives that you'd like to do right here in Nigeria?
Okay, I wouldn't let the cat out of the bag. So I'll talk about things that I've been doing, or things I want to do, what I want to do rather. For now, I'm sure probably Amadine is aware. There's something we used to do back then, reaching out to schools. It was one of our mutual friends that connected me to that. I stopped for a while, but then I got the leading to start again because she moved out of Abuja. And then, trust me, so it is something I started doing when I had maybe 16,000 naira left in my account. But then I realized that in life, even with that 16,000 naira in my account, I could pick up my phone to call 4 people, and they would come through for me, whether be it food, be it money, be it anything I want. But then these people, they do not have the options of calling anybody. They don't have anybody to call and say, oh, mommy, I need money, or mommy, I need food. If I call my mom and say, oh, mom, I need money, she's going to say, okay, books flights, come back home. Don't worry, come to your father's house. But then these people, their father, their mother, they stay in that IDP camp. So it became something I love doing. And then before, I wanted to say, oh, I'm focusing on education. Oh, kids are supposed to come to school. Everybody should have knowledge. But then how do you talk about education to kids that can barely feed themselves?
Exactly.
I've been in a state where they're trying to give me assignments to do, and I know I've not eaten. As you are saying it here, it's coming out from the streets. So at that point in my head, I'm like, if these people cannot feed well, how would they be able to learn? So that was how I got my initiative. And every week, I reach out to a certain IDP camp in Abuja here. And I'm hoping that as time goes by, I'm able to spread my tentacles to other IDP camps. I'm a firm believer that I would always say rather, every drop contributes to an ocean. So you come, you contribute your quota, I come, do my part, you come, do your part, same as Amadine, and then it goes a long way.
Indeed. We'll talk more on that and perhaps on peace shortly, but let's take a look at maybe our next item, but maybe we'll go on a break first, and when we return, we'll take a look at more costumes from Miss Aura International. Don't go anywhere.
Keep watching. Please keep watching Culture Cove on Hued Network.
Welcome back. This is still Culture Cove right here on Hued Network. Let's take a look now at more from Miss Aura International. We'll be going straight into our next look there. We've been talking about the national looks from the different contestants, the different queens, I could say. So I think this should be Miss
Thailand.
This is Miss Aura Thailand. I remember our queen right here, she talked about how she was always wanting to converse with people, and that is exactly what she was showing there. If you research about her, you see where she was trying. She said one of the things she would love people to learn about Thailand is the fact that they are willing to learn. So she was willing to learn to communicate with the people present there. And this attire, very colorful, very beautiful, was drawn from the northern Thailand people. And those people they are known for their animism and just animism, yes. So they get to practice it. And one thing you have to know about people who practice animism, which is very, should I say, it spreads across the Southern Asian countries. You have them in China. They practice Buddhism, of course, but it's still intertwined. Is the fact that their animism is seen as people who, should I say, spirits that embodies all the natural artifacts that we have around. So you have rivers, you have trees, you have mountains, you have rocks. And it means that they are there for sustainability, for preservation. So they don't go to cut down these trees just anyhow, because they know that they have spirits that embroiders this particular natural artifact, so they should not take them down. And that was exactly the kind of thing that she came there to showcase them. So she was not just showing, how beautiful her headgear is, or how colorful the beads are, or everything. She was trying to pass on a message. So even if she cannot communicate as well as the other people, maybe English, she could communicate so well with what she was wearing, with what she had on. Beautiful, engaging, and at the same time preaching the fact that we have to do something about our environment in very positive ways.
Indeed. Maybe it's just my eye, but her midsection kind of looks like a face. I don't know if it's just me. But I think one of the interesting things about national costumes and cultural representations at such events or occasions is that it makes you ask questions. What was that about? And before you know it, you know about a people and you know about their culture. And I think she did quite well representing Thailand and what they stand for. And
for me, it's a very, very nice one. Everything is just stand out. The color combinations, just like Kafi said, this is what we are talking about, culture preservation. And, telling people, more generations to come. Imagine our offspring, your twins coming up. See this
existence.
And they see us as well. They start asking questions. Why did she do this? Why did she do that? And people begin to research and then get to know about other people's culture. And, everybody begins to understand each other. And that's
you were there. What do you think about it? You
It
probably
was
saw this in
I
person.
actually went, the moment she came out, of course it's a competition. The first thing that came out of my head was shit. The burst of colors. I loved trust me, pictures don't do justice to this outfit. I saw Indonesia. Indonesia came out and I'm like, bruh, Messi, just go home. But then this is beautiful. We made videos together. We made beautiful videos together. I'm not sure I paid attention to what the costume was about, but I know Thailand is known for preserving cultures. I know they have the highest number of elephants in the world. And then, like she rightly said, they preserve nature.
So it was all about nature. So let's quickly take a look now at some others. So we get to see what the other contestants and countries had in offer, because this was basically bringing your country to the fore, using it to say, we're here and
we came to show ourselves.
So this is Miss Indonesia. She actually took the spot, or the top spot, for the number one national costume. I believe it was also accompanied by, or it was based on a character that UNESCO has is part of their intangible cultural items, and she really displayed, what it meant. Let me see if I can get the name correct. It's called, or the character is called Bujang Ganong from Riog Ponorogo. I know I probably didn't get that quite correctly, but she displayed it, and I think similar to what I said when I saw you with the dance. When I saw this with the face and everything, it gives character, and I think that is one of the main things.
Beautiful thing.
And we've talked about this before, about how a random person could wear this and it wouldn't work out. Sometimes if you are representing your culture, or your country, or aspects of your arts and intangible culture, the pride with which you do it is what brings other people
life.
in. And you can see the strut here, the motions and everything. And I think that's why we can understand why she came up top spot in national costumes.
Yes.
I think it's a nice one there from Miss Indonesia.
Well, to some people it will be scary, but
yes,
the mask alone.
Similar to some of the masquerades that we have here in Nigeria.
I was going to say that. I was going to say that because the moment I saw the face, she posted the pictures few hours before we came on board, and then I looked and I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't go this way. Thank God I didn't go this way, because I remember some Nigerian creative has actually done something similar. Of course, I think we have a god that has the masquerade face with the fire coming out from the mouth and all of that. So immediately I saw, I'm like, culture is really interesting.
But intertwined.
And intertwined, And she brought that costume to life. She climbed that stage and she literally breathed they breathe life into, like, it was like, ooh, come to life.
Yeah. and again, the
And
dance.
then there was so many similar cultures.
Yeah, like the
She
beads.
had the beads, that bead that makes noise when you come out. So
Yeah.
I had them on my end, my both ends, my feet, I think my neck or something. And when I come out, it's not just the movement of my feet. You hear the krrr, krrr. So she came out and she had that sound too. Because it was an
Similarity.
similarity.
Yeah, and a part of that performance also had to do with cultural pride. Right?
Yes.
If something has to do with pride and you don't own it, you know, it's not going to
She
work
took
out.
it personal.
Indeed. And I think she went on with that crown. She worked for it. And she got it.
She got it.
So let's take a look at our final attire for the day.
Okay, so I'm taking you guys straight up to Sri Lanka. And this is Miss Aura, Sri Lanka. Well, this is very, very different. And I, like what we've been saying, it represents something. And this particular one represents a divine, will I say, a protector of birds. He's like the king of birds. And, you know, whenever it's like it is in their mythology, and whenever it comes out, it descends, you know, under the light of the sun. It's so bright with its feathers, you know, how birds used to be. So it's just like when they say the king of birds is the one that is ahead of other birds, you know, shielding everyone and protecting the whole universe and all. So that's exactly what Miss Aura Sri Lanka actually portrayed there, and everything that revolves around it, from everything on her head that's representing the head of the bird, to the wings, and then to the body and everything.
The mythical Garuda bird.
Yes,
Garuda. It's meant, again, something you take with pride, you know. Like the other day we were also talking about is how little things around you can become the things you become known for. It just depends again on how you hold it there, because if you don't hold it there yourself, no one's going to do that for you. And again, in Sri Lanka showed up and she showed out.
She did.
So I think that's how we round off this segment. We'll go on a break now. When we return, to delve into our next segment, and maybe we'll also get to talk a little bit to Queen Mercy about her plans and, you know, what she has in store for us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Keep watching. Please keep watching Culture Cove on Hued Network.
Welcome back. It's still Culture Cove right here on Hued Network. We have been talking to Queen Mercy Babajide. She is the Miss Aura International Peace Ambassador 2025. And now we're delving into another segment where we spotlight a culture or a part of a cultural practice or part of a culture. We like to spotlight it and say what's about it. And something's been happening recently, and I think it's time we talk about a very specific part of culture, very dear to me particularly. But let's hear it from Joan. What do you have for us today?
First of all, before I begin, I want to start with Oba Tope. Thank you so much. All right,
Well, you're doing like this. Oba Tope.
Okay, Oba Tope. Okay. All right, so I'm going straight up to Edo State, but I would want to call it Benin Kingdom, currently known as Edo State, or Benin City as the capital city of Edo State. All right, so there's what we call the Benin bronze culture. And we all know, I think every Nigerian has seen the artifacts, you know, the head of the Oba of Benin, the tusk, the everything that's, you know, Benin people actually design. And this is actually talking about the cultural beliefs of Benin people, how they try to preserve their culture and exposing things about the kingdom exactly. We have the heads of different monarchs that have ruled the kingdom for different years. And we have a lot of things going on in that kingdom. And most of these things is just like taking note of things that have happened in the kingdom. But something really happened around 1897. That was when the massive looting of these artifacts by the British happened. And they took away thousands of the plagues, the artifacts, everything. That's the picture of it. And they took it out of Benin Kingdom out of Nigeria entirely, and it's just like stripping you out of your home. And since then, it's been from one tussle to another tussle, trying to bring it back home, returning those artifacts where they belong to. But so far, we've been hearing stories of returned artifacts back to the museums in Nigeria, back to the Oba of Benin. Sometimes we even see videos of him, celebrating the return of these artifacts and all. So it's something that is so dear, not to just the Benin Kingdom, I think to Nigerians entirely, because it's something that we hold with so much esteem. And before I even round up my conversation on this, these artifacts are not just artifacts. They have spiritual significance. So when people see it as just mere artifacts, we don't see it like that. Or the Benin Kingdom don't see it like Benin City, they don't see it like that. And we also have people that are designed to design this whole thing. Like they are there. It's an association in designing this. They are called the guild casters. So they are the ones that carry out all these designs and make sure that this is done properly. And one of the techniques that they use is the lost wax technique. And that technique is very, very paramount and significant to the Benin Kingdom, to the Benin people, because there was this particular saying that, okay, these ones that are returning the plagues, what if they are not the true ones that were stolen? And I saw an interview of the DG of the National Museum and Monuments, and he made a statement that is very, very striking there. And he said there is a testing that is being carried out, yes, by archaeologists there. So when they test these returned plagues and artifacts, they discover that it's still holding that same lost wax technique. That means these were the ones that were stolen. So that's how they can differentiate between the replicated ones and the real ones that were stolen and, of course, returned.
And just more on the culture, it was known that the bronze works were always part of something the Oba basically commissioned from his guild of bronze casters. And these techniques and everything were kept within, closed doors. They don't even allow women in their guild. But, that's another story for another time. But, for me, what's interesting is that it was also something used as some form of documentation. So when something major would happen, the Oba would call, just like, just as Queen Mercy's here and we're taking photographs and all of that, so imagine casting memories and history in bronze and in other sorts of elements that were being used to make these things. Nice. And, we've heard it referred to as when the looting happened, it was basically stripping pages of the history of a people because they were documenting things with this. And when we talk about it, people think maybe it's 10 or 20 or 50. They go into the hundreds, perhaps thousands, and they're scattered perhaps all over Europe and other places. The recent tranche just returned over 100, about 119 or so from the Netherlands, and it has sparked more conversation about how will these things be preserved. And again, that's not even a relevant discussion because the people who made these things, they are the ones who are getting it back. We've heard of different things like cultural agreements and perhaps laws where they say, okay, we can't give it back to you, but we can borrow you what belongs to you. It's interesting. So that aside, I think at the end of the day, when we're talking about cultural preservation, they do make a fair point that this culture should be shared and all of that. But if it gets to a point where the people who own the culture have to take, you've described your experience trying to get a visa to Turkey. I have to get a visa to go to British Museum to see what my, ancestors or forefathers made. So that's where the conversation is going. I feel like we need to add to it and say that at the end of the day, restitution, bringing these things back is for the good of everyone at the end of the day. And I love the fact that there's this collaboration because there was this talk like, does it go to the government? Does it go to, at the end of the day? But there's a respect being given to the king. That is Omonoba Nedu Ukwu Apolopolo. Oba Ewari.
I think you
no
should know.
The second. Oba Atokpe.
You say.
So anyway, So basically, that respect is still given to him. And I love that we are still respecting our age-old institutions. We are not saying, oh, we've got it back. This is a modern government. We are doing democracy. We're not going to give it to you. That respect is there. And that's how cultural preservation works.
Yes.
You don't just say, you know what, we know better than you. These are institutions that have existed for hundreds of years. And the last thing I'll say on this, just to throw a little bit of light on it, is that, yes, you talked about the lost WASC method.
Yeah.
It interests you to know that there is still a place in Edo State right now, Igun Street. It is the UNESCO World Heritage Site. The people who made these bronze works that we're talking about years ago, their descendants or people they taught, and it has gone all the way down. And those people are still there right now, still making bronze works. And I believe that while we need to put effort into getting these things back, let us remember that the people who are here, we should not allow them die out. Because this will talk about sometimes they make these works, a middleman comes in, buys it for about $300, $400, goes and sells it for $5,000, and they are barely making it. So I think we need to also pay more attention to that to ensure that while we are preserving the past, we shouldn't forget the present. Because if there's no present, there's no future.
Exactly.
So that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mercy, we've not heard from you. What do you think about all of this?
Something intrigues me about the Benin Kingdom. The way they've been able to preserve their culture. I feel like that's something worth emulating for every Nigerian. Because, look at how he was speaking now, and I was drawn. I'm like, okay, I want to listen. I want to listen. I want to listen. So that is one thing that has actually stood out for them.
Yeah.
They respect their kings. The culture is there. The tradition is being preserved over and over and over, no matter how many generations. I met a couple of people from Edo State, and trust me, it's just general. It's not as if one part respects the culture and the other. You see them speak so highly about their king.
Yes. For Benin people, for Edo people, after God, it's
the Oba. So now imagine they respect their king that much. Now passing over that love for their king back to the culture. That is starting with all these artifacts and all of that. And that is why everybody is intrigued and everybody wants to learn more about all of this. And that is what has preserved the culture over time.
Indeed.
So you guys
Benin is one of the cities that has more than one museums in the works. About preserving these things that are coming back. And again, I feel maybe the question shouldn't be, will they preserve it, will they not preserve it? You know what? This looting happened, you are making restitution. If you have the tools, I feel there's a little bit of openness that we can allow you provide that, if that is the case. So don't just worry and make aspersions that we don't know what's going to happen. Just come and help if you feel that's what you are really about.
Sorry, I'm going to ask a question. That two symbol on the forehead, what does it signify?
Well, I cannot immediately answer that now, but I do know that, sometimes these things happen from the way people just live, because there's something about culture where it's for the people, and the culture doesn't control the people control culture. So when people do certain things, I don't know if I've told this story before, of the rope tying. There was this general, a fictional general anyway, he was taught by his master that he should tie his war belts multiple times around his chest, but he always saw other people just tied loosely. Every other warrior does that, except him and his brothers who were taught by this one master. So he went back one day, he found the master, and he asked him, after all these years, he's not at this point. He's a super war general. He's a big man on his own. So he's going back. Why did you tell us to do this? Nobody does this. And the man, his master, who is a much shorter, smaller man, said that due to his own dimensions, it requires him to tie multiple times. So that became a culture for him that he passed to his children and his children's children. All because one person was just trying to, get his belt tightened up. So something is passed down. I believe probably at some point.
Probably a signature mark or something.
Yes, and then it just became culture. This is why I mentioned Igun Street. Is a personal advocacy of mine, which is that I believe that there are things happening now that people 50, 100 years from now will look at and say, wow. Somebody's going to look at Joan and say, that thing that you were saying playfully, that I thought was a joke, maybe is what people used to recite a prayer now, you know, things like that. Or when Queen Mercy couldn't get her visa and she walked into the embassy and she said, I will come back with a crown.
With a crown.
You know, these things, it seems like just a story now, but someone is going to tell it, you know, a long time from now, and it's going to be part of strong history. That's why I say, let's not forget what we have here while we're trying so hard to get the past. Yes. So, but before we end the program, Mercy, if you can tell us more. I saw a post of yours recently on about peace. You seem to be calling out. You said you spoke from your heart. You know that you're not speaking just as a queen, or you're talking as a human. And I was just wondering, you know, what you have to say about your message there, because you said if we do things out of peace, it will change the way we behave and, you know, really promote how we handle things. So what's your message really as regards, because there's a lot of conflict going on
right
a
now.
lot of wars, you know, so where do you come in with that, and what's your message to people?
Okay, I would say being crowned Miss Aura International Peace Ambassador, at first I was asking, why me? But then at some point I'm like, okay, God will make room for you.
Let me just read out your words there. It says,
Okay.
I believe in something stronger, the energy we carry within us, because we can choose peace genuinely, deeply. It changes the way we speak, the way we act, the way we live, and that creates a ripple effect.
Okay, so I'm someone that I'm a firm believer about energies. You can easily transmit that. Imagine I walk into the studio and I'm sober. There is no way I wouldn't pass that across to you. And that has been what has been happening in the world. That is the ripple effect of war. I was going to say something on my Instagram post about this IDP camp. You would realize that people are there now as a result of the insecurity that has happened. So there's always a ripple effect to whatever has happened. But then whether we like it or not, those in government are not the ones that are easily affected. It is you and I. It's just normal citizens that are easily affected. So it felt like this peace ambassadorial crown came timely. At the right time. Yes, there is little to what I can do from my home country. I feel like before my 1 year lapse, I would get to travel. Like I said earlier on, I said something about every drop contributes to making an ocean. You and I, our voices can be lent. So being the peace ambassador today, I would say it's more than a crown. It's more than the beautiful face. Of course, I'm beautiful. It's more than the sash. It transcends beauty. It transcends all of this talk. For me, I feel like it's more of action. And whether we like it or not, you and I, we have a major contributing role to play. And what I would like to leave with people, I would say, don't just be at peace with yourself. You cannot give what you don't have. So if you have the peace, something funny people have been saying, and I would like to maybe clarify, this crown was not just timely. I feel like it's just God's way of speaking to me, because I'm someone that believes that when things happen, attack. But then
Your crown has made you more peaceful.
So it has made me more calm. And then I've gotten more results than I've ever gotten. So I realized that even peace is an action word. It speaks. Because when people know you to be that kind of person, and then you evolve to being this kind of person, that, oh, they do something. Now people are getting mad at the fact that I'm not responding the way I used to respond. They are used to. So that itself affects their energy or their person, and be like, oh, if this person can be this way, then I can be that way.
Indeed.
That's
You
what
lead
I
by example. Thank you so much for that. Talking about leading by example, we do want you to do one more thing for us. Let's take a look at our wise saying of the day.
Okay.
You help us take it, and let's hear your thoughts or your how you interpret it.
Okay, then.
I'll take a look now.
is so hilarious. Head, we know one thing go carry load. Of course, the head, your brain is not for. It's not for. It's not a museum that you're just supposed to see that people will walk through and just sightseeing. If you know one thing, you go carry load where you're not supposed to carry now.
Indeed.
So the brain is for using, think. When you think, I feel like there's no way you won't carry load, whether we like it or not. But then thinking goes a long way to reduce the load.
Yeah, instead of carrying, load that is heavy, let's say physically heavy, you could be carrying a crown.
Ooh. No, but I would say, I've said no, I'm not going to say heavy is the head that wears the crown. Easy lies my own head, please.
But I think for me, it's just work smart, not hard.
Yeah, that's it.
And then one thing that illustrates is, and I think sometimes it happens to people without thought, is that you might get into the groove of doing something as a routine that you don't realize that if you thought a little, I move this way and then I paint. And I realized that I would go put the paintbrush in the paintbrush, come back. Till it got to the point where I was walking from one end of the room to the other. And, someone was watching me like, why don't you just carry
Move
that
the
bucket and the stuff,
Head, we know one thing.
I did the extra work because I just wasn't willing to take a moment to stop, think, and then just move it and reduce my work. So sometimes, get out of your own stuff. Take a moment to think. Take a moment to
Out
think.
of the box.
Well, I think you have both said it all, but I will come from a different dimension and give something different. I like to use parents and children for my instance. And when that moment when your child will look at you and say to you, what were you doing when your mates were doing this? I don't know if you can relate. So that moment, that kind of question is quite deep. So it means you didn't think deeper. You didn't take bolder steps. You were just, moving round and round while others were making the world go round. So head we know one thing, go carry load. So if you don't do what you're meant to do and, cross some certain boundaries, like don't limit yourself. Because if you limit yourself, you'll see yourself, you'll be draining yourself and you'll not achieve anything.
Indeed.
So when you cross a particular...
even with your mind, like
your mindset
if your mind
as well.
is in a room and it's refusing to think
You're just
outside
stuck
of where
there.
you are,
Yes.
you are going to carry
It's just
it.
like think outside the box. When you think outside the box,
It's just the same thing that Joan had said, and in fact, and our queen here, and of course you. The fact is that people are going to ask you. Imagine if you're someone who embodies a lot of talent, embodies a lot of goodwill, and has a very bright future. Yet because of that, you just sit down in one place. You are going to end up like the other person who you thought had nothing. And in fact, that person who you thought had nothing would think, and he would grow, or she would grow bigger than you ever thought it did. So at that point, you have to go out there and grab what you want.
Indeed. Oh, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Queen Mercy, for gracing us with your presence. We will be following up because, right here on Huge Network, as much as we are preserving culture now, talking about culture, we're all about development, and we know that persons in your position do go on to make an impact because, my secondary school principal would say that when something comes from a beautiful person, you are more willing to take it. So when you might not have to go and tell countries to stop fighting, but then people seeing you promote peace is something, and we do hope to follow up on any more initiatives. We'll be here to be with you. We'll be your champions as always, we'll be here to support you as well. Thanks so much for coming today.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's our round of the program for today. Do join us next time every Saturday, 9 a.m. Culture Cove reaches you right here on our YouTube channel. See you next time. Bye for now. I am Ahmad Dinobere.